Hi students, good morning. Welcome to the online classes. My name is Lakshmi Narasimha. I am teaching social studies KGBV Dornipadu from Kurnool district. Students, today our topic name is production and employment. It is 10th class third lesson in social studies. Production and employment. What is meant by production, students? Here different types of goods and services produced in a agricultural sector or industrial sector, it is called the production. Production of goods and services. Production of goods and services. This is called production. What about employment, students? Here, employment means those who are producing goods and services. Those who are producing goods and services. Goods and services is employment. People are engaged in different activities to earn their livelihood is called employment.
Students, different persons have different activities. They do different work to earn their livelihood. For example, some people work in agricultural sector. Some people work in shops and malls. Some people work in industries or factories. Some people work in vegetable shops. Some people work in call centers. Some people using tools or machines in manufacturing process.
Based on Indian economy, three sectors are there. First one is agricultural sector. Agricultural sector is also known as primary sector. Primary sector or agricultural sector means where nature has a dominant role in production of goods and services is called agricultural sector. Here, agricultural sector based on the nature. Nature has a dominated role. Nature has dominant role in production process. Goods and services production process is called as the agricultural sector. Here some relative activities are coming under the agricultural sector. That is mining, fishing and forestry. Mining, fishing and forestry. These are relative activities under the agricultural sector. So many people depending upon agricultural sector because of our India is main source of the agricultural sector. Agricultural based country is India. That's why most of the people they go to the work in agricultural field.
Student, all of you observe this picture. What is indicate this picture? This picture indicates some people work in agricultural sector. Here, agricultural sector means where nature has a dominant role in the production process is called agriculture, and some related activities are coming under the agricultural sector. For example, mining, fishing and forestry. These are relative activities in agricultural sector. Agricultural sector is backbone of our country. Students, this picture indicates industry. Here, second one is industrial sector, where goods are produced by people using tools or machines is called manufacturing process. Here, all industries will come under the secondary sectors. This is manufacturing sector. Industrial sector is also known as the secondary sector. Students, already we seen in our locality various types of factories or industries are there. Some homemade goods factories are also we see in our locality. Different types of industries will come under the secondary sector. This picture indicates service sector. Service sector is also called as tertiary sector. Here all services are coming under the tertiary sector. Activities that do not directly produce a goods but provide services are called service sector. Here, service sector do not produce any goods but provide the services. We see some examples of service sector. Transportation. Transportation do not produce any goods but to provide the services to the public. Here, transportation divided into 4 types. First one is roadway, second one is railway, third one is waterway, fourth one is airway. These 4 ways coming under the transportation. Another example is banks. Banks also provide the services to the public. Here, bank provided service to depositors and loaners. Insurance offices also provide the services. Next, trading. Trading also provide the services to the public. Next one is defense. In the army, soldiers do not making any products, but they provide service to the country people. They provide the security. They provide the protection to the country people. Next one is police department. Here, police officers also to provide the security and protection to the society. These police officers, they declining the criminal rate in society. Call centers also provide the services to the public. Students, to recall these differences, classify the following list of occupations under agriculture, industry and service sectors. Give reasons for your classifications. Here some occupations are given this table. We see the classifications also. First one is tailor. Tailor is coming under the industrial sector. Main reason is tailor uses tools or machines to work. That's why this is coming under the industrial sector, where using the tools and machines in the manufacturing process, this is called industrial sector. Next one is basket weavers. Basket weavers also coming under the industry because of it is a household industry. That's why this is coming under the industrial sector. Next one is flower cultivator. Flower cultivator mainly depending upon nature. That's why this nature coming under the agriculture. Coming under the agricultural activities. Milk vendor. Milk vendor coming under the service sector. Because of milk vendor do not produce any goods, but this milk vendor provide the service. He is not producer, that's why he is supplier only. That's why milk vendor coming under the service sector. Next, fisherman. Already we seen in this class, we discussed this fishermen coming under the agricultural sector. Because of fishing comes under primary sector. Next, priest. Priest is also coming under the service sector. A priest can serve the society. Courier. Courier is coming under the service sector. Main reason is courier cannot produce anything but do service to the society. Next one is workers in match factory. Workers in match factory coming under the industrial sector. They can produce matches in a factory. Money lender. Money lender do not produce any goods, but this money lender to provide the service. Money lender comes under service sector. Gardener. Gardener is coming under the agriculture. Gardener is an agricultural activity, main depending upon nature. That's why this gardener coming under the agricultural sector. Potter. Potter is coming industrial sector. Pot making is a household industry. That's why potter coming in industrial sector. Beekeeper. Beekeeper coming under the agricultural sector. Because of collection honey comes under agriculture. Astronaut coming under the service sector. Astronaut works to know about the space. Call center employee. Call center employee coming under the service sector. He gives service to their customers. Students, here one table is given. The following table shows the percentage of workers employed in different sectors in India in 1972 to 73 and in 2009 to 2010, that is after 37 years. Here three sectors are given in this table. 1972 to 73, agricultural sector percentage is 74%, industrial sector 11%, service sector 15%. In the year 2009 to 2010, agricultural sector 53%, industrial sector 22%, service sector 25%. Here question is, what are the major changes that you observe from the above table? In the year 1972, people depending upon agriculture was 74%. It is decreased to 53% during the year 2009 and 2010. At the same time, in the industrial sector is increased from 11% to 22%. In the service sector, only 10% increased. Workers employed in the agricultural sector decreased 21%. Workers employed in the industrial sector increased twice. Second question is, from what you have read before, discuss what could be some of the reasons for these changes. Here answer is, as the methods of farming changed, food requirements were met by other producers. There were increasing number of craft persons and traders. Buying and selling activities increased many times. Besides, rulers employed a large number of people as administrators, army, etc. So, percentage of people in industrial sector and service sector gradually increasing. Students, all of you observe this picture carefully. What is indicate this picture, students? Here, some women workers are worked in the agricultural field. They do the transplanting. This shows agriculture activity. Second one is mining. That person doing the mining. Mining also coming under the agricultural sector. Third one is, this is call center. This call center coming under the service sector. Call center employees, they do not produce any goods, but to provide the service to the customers. Third picture indicate the service sector. Next, fourth picture. Fourth picture coming under the industrial sector. Here, three members produce the goods by using tools and machines. These are coming under the manufacturing process. This activity is industrial sector. GDP means gross domestic product. The total value of goods and services produced in the country is GDP. GDP records the market value of all final goods and services produced. Suppose there are two families. One family is rich family, another family is poor family. We can make such judgment as rich or poor based on the dresses people in the family wear, vehicles they use to travel, food that they eat, house they live in, furniture and other equipment they have, hospitals they go for treatment, etc. Alternately, income that these families earn is an important overall indicator. For the country as a whole, we use the total value of goods and services produced in the country as the indicator of income for the country. The technical term to denote this value is gross domestic product, GDP. GDP means gross domestic product. The following graph 1 shows the value of GDP for India for two different years, 1972, 1973 and 2009 to 2010. One can compare what kind of increase has taken place in production in the three sectors of the economy. Students, all of you observe the graph 1. Graph 1 indicates GDP by agriculture, industry and service sector. Here, years 1972, 1973, 2009 and 2010. Some colors are there. Blue color indicates agricultural sector, yellow color indicates industrial sector product, green color indicate service sector product. In the year of 1972 1973, blue color shows 2,43,082 crores GDP. Yellow color industrial sector shows 1,33,912 crores. Green color shows service sector 2,09,352 crores. This is the GDP in the year of 1972-73 of three sectors. In the year of 2009-2010, the agricultural sector is improved from 2,43,082 crores to 7,64,817 crores. In the 2009-2010 year, industrial sector is also improving from 1,33,912 crores to 11,73,089 crores. Green in the year of 2009-2010, service sector is improved from 2,09,352 crores to 25,78,165 crores. Students, here improving, we saw in this graph, improving is very clear. In the we compare the 1972-73 years to 2009-2010 years. Here some questions are there. Answer the following questions by looking at the chart. First question is, which was the largest producing sector in 1972-73 students? Here agricultural sector the largest producing sector in the 1972-73 year. Second question, which was the largest producing sector in 2009 and 2010 students? Here service sector the largest producing sector in 2009 and 2010. Here fill in the blanks are given. The total value of production of goods and services in India increased approximately 7.7 times. How do we estimate GDP? Here one example is there. A farmer who sells paddy to a rice mill for 25 rupees per kg. She sells 100 kilograms of paddy. Let us assume that she did not have to buy any seeds. The total value of paddy produced by her is 2,500 rupees. The rice mill takes out rice and sells 80 kilograms of rice to the hotler for 40 rupees per kg and 20 kilograms of husk at 20 rupees per kg. The total value of goods produced by the rice miller is 80 into 40 plus 20 into 20 equal to 3,600 rupees. This is what the hotler pays the rice miller. The hotler makes idli dosa and husk is used as fuel by him. The hotel owner, by using rice and husk, makes out 5,000 rupees from the sale of idli dosa. Total value of goods sold at each stage. Stage 1, sale of paddy by farmer to rice mill owner, 2,500 rupees. Stage 2, sale of rice and husk by rice mill owner to hotler, 3,600 rupees. Stage 3, sale of idli dosa, 500 rupees. Discuss. To find out the total value of goods produced, should we add them up? Answer is, value added at all stages, 2,500 plus 1,100 plus 1,400 equal to 5,000 rupees. To calculate the total value of goods, we should not add them up because the value of the final goods already included the value of all. If we add, it will become double counting. The value of final goods and services are counted here in both the methods. So both methods give the same result. Students, all of you look at the table carefully. In the above example, paddy or rice is the intermediate goods and idli is the final good. The following are a few goods we consume in our daily lives. List some of the intermediate goods against each one. Here final good and intermediate goods. Final goods are notebooks, car, computer. First one is final good is notebook. What are the intermediate goods? Here puff, paper. These are intermediate goods to the notebook. Car. What are the intermediate goods to the car? Here we use the iron, glasses, tires. These are intermediate goods. These intermediate goods to helpful to the car. These intermediate goods using in this made the car. Next one is computer. What are the intermediate goods of computer? Chips, wires and plastic. These are intermediate goods to the computer. Students, changes in the importance of sectors, value of goods and services produced and employment of people. Here, as the methods of farming changed and the agricultural sector began to prosper, it produced much more food than before. Many people could now take up other activities as essential food requirements were met by other producers. There were increasing number of craft persons and traders. Buying and selling activities increased many times, further increasing demand for goods and services. Besides, rulers employed large number of people as administrators and army, etc. However, at this stage, in an overall context, most of the goods produced were from agriculture and related sectors, and most people were also employed in this sector. There was mass production by factories at much lower rates, and these goods reached markets all over the world. For these countries, industrial production gradually became the most important sectors, both in the total production of goods and services and also in the employment of people. Hence, over time, a shift took place. This means that the importance of the sectors had changed. The industrial sector became the dominant sector, and the importance of the agricultural sector, both for employment and production, declined. In the past 50 years, there has been a further shift from industry to service sector for development countries. The service sector has become the most important in terms of total production. Most of the working people have also shifted and are now employed in the service sector, and most of the production activities are those of service and not manufactured goods. Students, here one table is given. What do services comprise of? Here, community, social and personal activities. Here, some activities coming under the community, social and personal services. They are public administration, defense, education, health, veterinary activities, media, library, archives, museums and other cultural activities. These are coming under the community, social and personal services. Next one is finance, insurance and real estate. Some activities coming under these finance, insurance and real estate. Services of banks, post office, savings accounts, non-bank financial companies, life insurance and general insurance corporations, services of brokers and real estate companies. These are coming under finance, insurance and real estates. Next one is trade, hotels, transport and communication. Some activities coming under the trade, hotels, transport and communication. That is RTC, railways including metro services, airways, waterways, publication of newspapers, radio, television channels, hotel management, wholesale and retail trade, tourism, catering for functions and celebrations also comprise of service sector. Sales outlets, shopping malls, these are coming under the trade, hotels, transport and communications. Graph 2 indicates share of different sectors in gross domestic product. Here 1972 and 1973 agricultural share is 43% of share in gross domestic product. Industrial sector share is 22% share in gross domestic product. Here green color, yellow color and blue color shows service sector. Here green color shows trade, hotels, transport and communication. This share is 15% of share in gross domestic product. Next yellow color shows finance, insurance and real estate. This share is 8% share in GDP. Next blue color shows community, social and personal services. This share is 12% share in GDP in the year of 1972 and 73. Next 5 graph 2009 and 2010 year. Here agricultural share is 17%. It is declined from 43% share to 17% share. Next industrial share 2009 to 2010 industrial share is 26% share in gross domestic product. We compared 1970-73, it is 22% share. Now 2009 and 2010 it is increasing from 22% to 26% share in GDP. Next green color shows service sector. Already I say trade, hotels, transport and communication. This share is increasing from 15% to 27%. Next yellow color shows finance, insurance and real estates. It is also increasing from 8% share to 17% share in GDP. Next blue color shows community, social, personal services. This is increasing from 12% to 13% share in gross domestic product. Here during the 37-year period the output share of agricultural sector has fallen drastically. There was a small increase in the share of industrial output in GDP. In contrast to this, there is a tremendous increase in the share of service activities. 2 out of 3 subsectors of service activities have expanded. Students, here table 1 indicates distribution of workers in India 2009 and 2010 in percentages. Here 3 sectors are given: agricultural sector, industrial sector and service sector. Here place of residence. Here rural place and urban, rural area and urban area. Sex male and female. All workers percentage taken in this table. First of all we see the agricultural sector. In rural areas 68% of workers work in agricultural sector. In urban areas only 8% of workers work in agricultural sector. We see the sex ratio. Male persons, male in rural areas, male 47% of male do the work in agricultural sector. Here in the rural area female workers 69% of workers work in agricultural sector. We compare the males. Females workers are increasing. Females workers are more members work in agricultural sector. Here total 53% of employment opportunities in agricultural sector. Next, industrial sector. In the industrial sector, in rural areas, 17% of workers work in industrial sectors. In urban areas, 34% of workers work in industrial sector. Because of more industries are established in urban areas, this is available to work in industrial sector. Here 34% of males work in industrial sector, only 16% of female work in industrial sector. Here we take the overall percentage, 22% of employment, 22% of employment opportunities in industrial sector. Next we take the service sector. In rural areas, 15% of workers work in service sector. Because of here there is no service activities in rural areas. Next one is 58% of workers work in service sector in urban areas. Because of service opportunities are available in urban areas. 19% of male workers work in service sector. Only 15% of female workers work in service sector. We take overall percentage, 25% of employment opportunities in service sector. Here, as a result, more than half of the workers in the country are working in the agricultural sector, producing only 1/6 of the GDP. In contrast to this, the industry and service sectors produce 3/4 of the GDP, whereas they employ only about half the proportion of workers. Here one table is given. Read the above table and fill in the blanks. Majority of workers in agriculture are living in rural areas. Most female workers are employed in agriculture sector. Only a small section of female is in industrial sector. More than 90% of urban workers are getting employment in industrial and service sector. Compared to males, female workers are getting employment in agriculture and industrial sectors only to a small context. Students, graph 3 indicates sectoral shares of employment. Here, in the agricultural sector, 74% of employment opportunities in agricultural sector. Industrial sector, 11% of employment opportunities in industrial sector, 1972 and 73 years. Service sector, only 15% of employment opportunities in service sector in the year of 1972 and 73. Next we take the 2009 and 2010 sectorial shares of employment. Here we see the agricultural sector. Here 53% of employment share in agricultural sector. It is decreasing from 74% to 53%. Next, industrial sector. In the year of 2009-2010, in the industrial sector, employment opportunities are increasing. We compare the 11% to 22% in the year of 2009 and 2010. Next, service sector. Service sector also increasing. Employment opportunities 25% increasing in service sector. We compare that 1972-73, this share is service sector 15% only. This is increasing from 15% to 25% in the year of 2009 and 2010. Students, here graph 4 indicates shares of 3 sectors in GDP. In the year of 1972-73, shares and 2009 2010 shares are here. Look at the above pie chart and fill in the following table, students. Here three sectors are there. Employment in percentage, gross domestic product is also percentage. We take employment opportunities in the year of 1972-73 and 2009 and 2010. In the agricultural sector, 74% of employment opportunities. It is in the agricultural sector, it is decreasing. In the year of 2009 to 10, it is 53% employment only. Here we take gross domestic product also. In the year of 1972-73, only 43% of share belongs to the agriculture in GDP. In the year of 2009 and 2010, agriculture has 17% in GDP. It is decline. In the industrial sector, we take employment in percentage. In the year of 1972-73, 11% of employment opportunities in industrial sector. It is increasing. In the year of 2009 and 2010, it is 22% of employment opportunities in industrial sector. We take gross domestic product from industrial sector. In the year of 1972-73, 22% share has industry in GDP. It is increasing 2009 and 2010 from 22% to 26% GDP coming from industrial sector. Next we take service sector. In the employment opportunities, in the year of 1972-73, only 15% of employment opportunities. Next, it is increasing 15% to 25% in the year of 2009 and 2010. Gross domestic product in the service sector, in the year of 1972-73, it is 35%. It is increasing from 35% to 57% in GDP. Here GDP percentage is 57%. It is the highest percentage in GDP. Industrial sector has 26% GDP. Agricultural sector only 17% of GDP. Here students, employment opportunities more in agricultural sector, but GDP 17% GDP come from agricultural sector. 57% of GDP coming from service sector. Here, while service sector has grown, all service sector activities are not growing equally well. Service sector in India employs many different kinds of people. At one end, there are a limited number of services that employ highly skilled and educated workers. At the other end, there are a very large number of workers engaged in service, such as small shopkeepers, repair persons, transport persons, etc. These people barely manage to earn a living, and yet they perform these services because no alternative opportunities for work are available to them. Hence, only a part of this sector is growing in importance. Students, here one case study is there. You have understand the organized sector and unorganized sector through the case studies. Here Narasimha's case study is there. Narasimha works in a government office. He attends his office from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. He uses his motorbike to travel from house to office, which is about 5 kilometers. He gets his salary regularly at the end of every month, deposited in his bank account. In addition to the salary, he also gets the provident fund as per the rules laid down by the government. He also gets medical and other allowances. Narasimha does not go to office on Sundays. This is a paid holiday. When he joined the work, he was given an appointment letter starting all the terms and conditions of work. This is the position of Narasimha. Now we take another case study. We compare these case studies. We see the another case study, Rajeshwari. Rajeshwari is working as a construction worker. She goes for work at 7 a.m. and returns home at 7 p.m. She travels about 8 to 10 kilometers daily for work by bus. Construction workers get 1 hour lunch break between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. She gets work only for 10 to 12 days a month. In the remaining days, she has no work and she does not get any wage. She gets 150 rupees per day as wages. Mostly, she is paid the wages on the spot in the evening. When she works for 3 or 4 days at the same spot, she is paid after the work. She gets more work from February to June. July to January is unseasonal. Rajeshwari is a member of a self-help group in her locality. The government pays some compensation if any death or major injury while she is on work. There is no help from the government for treatment in accidents while working. Students, we see in these two case studies. One person have a regular work and satisfactory salaries. Working hours also limited. Another person did not have any sufficient salary, limited hours, job security and other benefits. Now we see the organized sector and unorganized sector and differences between organized sector and unorganized sector. 92% of workers in India are found in unorganized sector and only 8% find work in the organized sector. Organized sector covers those enterprises or places of work where the terms of employment are regular and therefore people have assured work. They are registered by the government and have to follow its rules and regulations, which are given in various laws such as the Factories Act, Minimum Wages Act, Shops and Establishment Act, etc. It is called organized because it has some formal processes and procedures. Workers in the organized sector enjoy security of employment. They are expected to work only for a fixed number of hours. If they work more, they have to be paid overtime by the employer. They also get several other benefits from the employers. They get paid leave, payment during holidays, provident fund, etc. They are supposed to get medical benefits and under the laws, the employers has to ensure facilities like drinking water and a safe working environment. When they retire, many of these workers get pensions as well, People who work in the government or which companies or large establishments are all in the organized sector. The unorganized sector is characterized by small and scattered units which have remained largely outside the control of the government. There are rules and regulations, but these are not followed or enforced. Jobs here are low paid and not regular. There is no provision for overtime, paid leave, holidays, leave due to sickness, etc. Employment is not secure. People can be asked to leave without any reason. When there is less work during some seasons, some people may be asked to leave a lot. Also depends on the whims of the employer or changes in the market situations. Students, here table 2 indicates contribution of organized and unorganized sectors. Here two sectors are given, organized sector and unorganized sector. In organized sector, 80% of employment is here. The gross domestic product is 50%. In unorganized sector, 92% of employment is there. Gross domestic product is 50%. Students, we see the discussed unemployment, the situation of underemployment where people are apparently working but all of them are made to work less than their potential. Here they did not have sufficient work. This kind of underemployment is hidden in contrast to someone who does not have a job and is clearly visible as unemployed. It is called disguised unemployment. Though some employees are shifted to another field, this does not affect the production. Various programs launched by the government for promotion of employment. Employment means income is earned by doing any job. This is known as employment. Various programs launched by government for promotion of employment. Rural Works Program, Marginal Farmer and Agricultural Labours Scheme, Small Farmers Development Agencies, National Rural Employment Program. Today homework is, what is the meaning of gross domestic product and what is the differences between organized sector and unorganized sectors?